Good morning, everybody. I am here, but Big Tom has decided he's going to help me do my video. I moved over to the table, and I know you can hear me, but I know you can't see me. I could peek around, I guess. Get over this way. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I moved over on the table for the better lighting and the reflection in my glasses. But anyway, I have a verse for you today, and it's from Psalms 139:5-6. You go before me and follow me. You place your hand of blessing on my head. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too great for me to understand. And I don't understand, but there goes that cat again. That's life. He lives here. He lives over here at my house, and I left the heat on last night because I tell you what, it's 24 degrees out there today, and that's cold. I mean, baby, that is cold. So anyway, this morning we went to McDonald's for breakfast, and our friend Tony was there, and he goes to all these yard sales that we do. Him and his wife Linda are there quite often. And I was telling him about some of the miracles that's happened in my life, and that I was on YouTube and have 70,000 followers. Now my nose is running, and do I have a Kleenex? Let's hope so. Ha ha ha. So anyway, I was telling Tony, and Tony said, well, is that right? Is that right? Because he's a good Christian. He was sitting there reading his Bible this Saturday morning. And he's a good man, and he sings. He's a musician, and he's got a really good voice, and he sings at his church, and they've got a good church. I know about it, and they love the Lord. Don't you like my bouquet up there? You didn't see? And see that painting there? I did that a few years ago. I was always doing something. When I was, I was out in Texas, and there was a woman out there, pastor's wife, and she just had beautiful paintings around her house hanging on the wall. And I said, those are so pretty. Who did those? And I could tell they were hand done. She said, I did. She said, but I quit painting. I said, how could you quit painting when you were so good? She says, you go through phases. That's just a phase. And that's what I did. So I started painting when I was 60 years old. And I did good. I watched that guy on TV all the time. We had a satellite dish. And so we could get TV wherever we was at, and I had a recorder, and I would record him. He came on Saturdays when we was usually real busy, and I would watch him later. And he used oils, but I used acrylics, and so that one's in acrylics. And I liked landscapes, and I just did landscapes. It looks like the cat has left. So we went to McDonald's for breakfast, and it's good. You just don't eat a whole lot that way because we share it. And I eat less. I'm still eating less. I'm holding good. 155. That where I step on it and it talks to you, sometimes it makes you mad. It gets you motivated when it says, you weigh 155.8. I get on the ball and eat less. So that way I just eat some of James, one pancake, a little bit of egg, a little bit of sausage, and the hash brown. And we bring the biscuit home, and tomorrow I will make a sausage egg sandwich with it or something, and I'm going to treat my feet if I can get to it while I am talking to y'all. You know how I am. I'm usually trying to kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone. James has been needing some throw rugs. I said, now honey, if you need throw rugs, the best place to go is at the dumpster dive, which is Goodwill resale store. You can find all kind of rugs there, reasonable, and that's where I buy my rugs most of the time. Sometimes I order from Amazon, but I have got ordered now, and I know y'all are fascinated with all this. I'm baloney maroni. Here's my thing I treat my feet with. I'm gonna get started. See this? This is 2 little things. You stick them on the bottom of your feet, turn this on for 30 minutes. I won't be talking 30 minutes, but who knows, I might. I'm in a good mood this morning. I feel good. I feel good. Just to know I've been redeemed makes me feel good. And I'm on my way to heaven, and I'm singing as I go. Yes, I am. I tell you what, I used to sing that sad song. This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. The angels, let's see. This world is not my home, I'm just a passing through. If heaven's not my home, then Lord, what will I do? The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I don't feel at home in this world anymore. That's a great old song, and I used to sing that when Buddy was sick and invalid and in the bed with cancer, and I would walk around the building complex next to me and sing that sad song because I didn't hardly feel at home in this world anymore. I was going through a phase. You know, we all go through phases. That's life. Now here's Big Tom. Look at this. See him sitting there? See him? There he is. He's gonna keep me company out here. I can bring this back around. I have got me ordered, as I was starting to say earlier, one of these stands that you can hook your iPad to and you can record anywhere. Because see, I have been limited to where I could record because I couldn't take my iPad everywhere. I moved it around today and put it over here on a table. And see, that's my kitchen out there and the window. And here is my living room. Well, this is my big living room James fixed up for me. I got a bunch of junk out here. I am not neat. Some people are neatniks. I'm not. Well, I tell you what, I just don't have much room here in this little apartment. Now, where's my coffee? Oh, shucks. I left it in the microwave. I was warming it up. Oh, well, that's life. I'll drink it later. I like it while I'm talking. I wish I knew how to put this on pause, but I don't know how. I wonder if I could find out how to put this on pause. Maybe I'll ask Google. I'll ask Google. Maybe somebody tell me how to put an iPad on pause. And if I could put it on pause, I would go get my coffee. Let me see. Let me ask Google. When videoing, can you put an iPad on pause? It says search a song. How to pause a video on the iPad during... I'm going to study up on that. I'll pass it up this morning. So anyway, where was I? Yes, we went to McDonald's to get breakfast. And there's this beautiful girl over there, and her husband both work there. And he's got this hair that... I should have took a picture of him. He's cute as he can be, but she speaks Spanish, and she's got long blonde hair. So we go there quite often, and James says, you know, that Mexican girl is just so friendly and everything. I said, honey, she's not Mexican. He said, yes, she is. She could speak Spanish to all those Mexicans that work there. She just don't have a bit of problem, and she's Mexican. So this morning, as we was checking in, I said, honey, because she was waiting on us, she calls me that famous woman on YouTube. And anyway, she says, I said, honey, you know, my husband said that you are sure pretty for a Mexican. She said, I'm not Mexican. I said, that's what I told him. I said, she's not Mexican. She just speaks Spanish real well. She said, yes, I do. She said when she worked at one store about 5 years ago, and it was mostly with the Mexican people, she learned how to speak Spanish, and she's excellent at it. And I told her, I said, you know what you are? You are a go-getting woman. And that's what I am, a go-getting woman. I've always been a go-getting woman. When number two husband, when I was dating him, his daughter married a lady that her mother bought her little poodle to me all the time to do when I was a groomer, because I was a dog groomer for years and enjoyed it, made good money, which I always like to do. I'm making money on YouTube now, which is strange. I didn't know they paid people to be on YouTube. After all, I am 91, and I don't look too bad to be 91. I put a little eyebrow pencil here this morning and here because it's getting more gray. But I still got some black hair here, but everything else is gray underneath this wig. A lot of y'all don't know I wear wigs, but I wear wigs. I've been wearing wigs since I was 26. But anyhow, this mother-in-law to my number two husband's daughter told Floyd when she said, well, who are you dating now? You dating again? He said, yes, I am. And he told her who it was. She said, well, I know her. I take my poodle to her all the time. She does a great job. He says, and I want to tell you about her. You better grab her. She's a go-getting woman. And Floyd told me that. So that's how I know I'm a go-getting woman. I thought I was, because when we was on the evangelistic field, and I used to have to be the one that did all the book work and all the calling the pastors and all the bookings and all that kind of stuff, I would call those pastors and I would talk to them about 5 minutes, and I could talk them into booking us. God was going before me and making the crooked places straight. When I was in California, college, they had college for free, okay? So I wasn't pregnant and I was bored. So I decided to go take some college courses, which you could do. It didn't cost you nothing. And I thought that was great, City College. So I went to college. And so as I was signing up, they said, fill out all these papers here. We want to see what your aptitude is to do. So I filled them out, and after a while they said, well, we looked over them, and what you really have, it looks like, is a high persuasive. High persuasive? Yes, you do. You should go into selling or promotional work. Well, I'm promoting Jesus is what I'm doing. So they were right. But I have always been able, when I was in the dog grooming business, I decided to raise a few poodles. So I raised poodles, and I could sell poodles, and I could do all kinds of things. And then when I went into wedding photography, I did that one time. You know what? I didn't like that. You know why I didn't like it? Because I read 3 papers a day, the Louisville Times, Courier-Journal, and the Tribune. And I would do these weddings, the pictures, and I would read 2 months later, the couple are getting a divorce. And it just kept happening. And I just got really disgusted with it. If they're not getting married for good, I don't want to do their wedding. I quit wedding photography. But you know, that was before we went, that's when I was pretty young. Buddy would carry all my equipment around for me when I did those wedding photography pictures. And one time I was doing a wedding, a big Catholic wedding, with 6 girls and 6 guys and the bride and groom. And as they were all standing there, the best man fell over. I mean, he just out. He was unconscious. He was laying there, they smacking him on the face and this and that and the other, and the wedding stopped. And so they carried him out into another room, and we all just, what do you do? We was on hold. So we just waited. The photographer as well. I didn't take any pictures during that time. So I just waited. And do you know, pretty soon he came back in, and there we went, doing the wedding. Continued on. Well, anyway, it turned out okay. I have had some experiences, I tell you. And when I used to sell poodles, I got good money for them. But we had babies would be born, and I had a vet friend that took care of all that, and he was really a good vet, and he would help me, and he taught me how to, you know, when baby poodles are born, their tails are long, and if you don't clip them, you have to clip their tails off about 1/3 of the tail when they're about 4 days old and put a little stitch in it. I learned how to do that to my puppies when they were born, and I just learned how to do all kinds of stuff, veterinary stuff, how to worm them and give them flea baths, and I did flea baths. I did all kinds of stuff taking care of poodles. And I had a friend at that time, a woman that raised poodles, and she taught me so much. You'd be surprised how if you make the right friends, you can learn a whole lot of stuff. And I have learned a whole lot of stuff. When I started wedding photography, I started with a 35mm camera and it was a good camera. And I had bought it at a yard sale or something, but it was a good camera. And then later on, I bought a bigger camera that could do all kinds of stuff. And it cost about $400, which I thought was outrageous, but it would do all kinds of stuff. And I did that for a while, but I got so disgusted with people getting divorced, and that's the truth. I said, honey, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to do something else. So I started a nursery school, and I took care of kids. I potty trained them. I did that for years until I accidentally bought a poodle. Now, I never had a poodle at that time when I was babysitting. And so I bought a poodle. My mother in law had bought a poodle and it was adorable. And I said, I want to get one. So I bought one. And it was just adorable. We just loved it. Her name was Cindy. And I found out when she got about 8 months old, you got to groom those. Their hair has got to be cut. It starts matting and getting so messy. And so I didn't know they had to be groomed. I didn't know their hair had to be cut, and it does. Or you have such a mess and it gets to their skin. And then I have cut, I have shaved poodles that it went to the skin, and you got a certain blade you can get underneath all that, and you pull it off like a jacket. I've done that before too. I've seen that on YouTube, somebody doing a dog that was real bad. You have to cut down the back with scissors first, and then you can get your blade under it, and you do like you would do a sheep. And that's the way you have to do poodles. So I got me some clippers, and I bought them at Sears and Roebuck. They cost $32, and they wouldn't cut hot butter on them poodles. So then I researched. I went to the library. We didn't have no, computers and all that kind of stuff. I went to the library and got a book out on how to groom poodles and what all you needed for it. And I found out you got to have something called shears, and you got to have a really good pair of scissors. You have to have one with curved blades so you can do the top knot and get it rounded like you want to get it. And they ran about $35 at the pet store. So I bought me some scissors, and these clippers they recommended you buy run about $150 that will really cut hair. And then you have to buy the blades, and they run about $27, $22 to $27 each, and they flip on and off of the clipper that you're using to clip the poodle. And I had a table, and the table I had was a folding table, and I just spread it out, and I got me a dryer, a hand dryer, because you have to cut a poodle down before you bathe it, because you can never get them dry if their hair is all growed out long. So I didn't have no big dryer. You can have a big dryer, and later on when I got more money, I bought me a big stand dryer. But when I went into poodle grooming, I was babysitting at the time, making $15 a week for each kid, feeding them lunch, loving them to pieces. And I really did, but I needed money. So anyhow, I gave all my mother's notice to plenty of time to find somebody, and I went full-time dog grooming, because you could get $30 for a dog, and you could be done in an hour and a half. I was slow, but later on I could do them a lot faster, because you got to cut them down, and then you bathe them and blow dry them and trim them so they look pretty, have pom-poms on their feet, pom-pom on their top knot, and just look adorable. And later on I started making bows for their hair, and I could do that, and I started selling bows for poodles, and that did good. The Lord just honestly goes before you when you love him and you serve him, and makes the crooked places straight, and it's just amazing what you can do. Or I was amazed. So when I was on the evangelistic field, I made bows and sold them on the table at church. And when Buddy got real sick and passed away, and well, before he passed away, he was so sick, and our insurance covered some, but it would not cover food that you have to put in through your stomach, the liquid food, and that run $200 a month. And we didn't have that much Social Security coming in, because he hadn't paid the Social Security in after he quit GE, so we went exempt, and that was not a good thing to do. But he still got about $500 a month, and I had to go back to work. So I went back to grooming. And you know what? I used that folding table we had used on the evangelistic field to groom dogs, and I still had my clippers and my blades. So I started putting signs everywhere and running ads in the Tribune, and I made good money while he was sick. I could groom and make plenty of money to feed him, and he lived for 6 months being fed through the stomach. I hated that. I hated that he had to be fed through his stomach, but people do what they got to do, and you cry a lot, or I did. I would cry, and tears would run down. I didn't sob, just tears would just start coming down my face. And it was a sad time, people. And when they told him that he had cancer of the esophagus and the stomach, and that all they could do, they said, was make his last days peaceful, palliative treatment, which don't cure anything. You can't cure it. And he did take treatment, but it didn't cure it. And so he was 6 months passing on, and he's in heaven, and he's out of pain, and he did suffer. And I don't understand these things. I really don't. And I just don't. But God knows best somehow or other, and he gets you through. And he got Buddy through, and he got me through. He got Buddy through to heaven, and I'm still here, and I didn't know why. But I told Tony, the guy that was sitting at the McDonald's reading his Bible this morning, I told him, I said, I never dreamed that I would be able to share the love of Jesus with so many people on YouTube. I never dreamed it. But that's why God still got me here. And God enjoys the saints that he calls home, because Brother Wayman Rogers of Louisville, Kentucky, at Evangel Tabernacle over there in Kentucky, where we went for 3 or 4 years, he called him home when he was around 63. And also the Baptist minister that was so good at 63, while he was in Jerusalem or somewhere. And there's scripture in the Bible that says God enjoys the presence of the saints. And it's just like God calls you home. I want to visit with you closer, He rejoices. He enjoys them. So I guess that's why he took them home, so they could be up there with him. Hunt that scripture up and see if you can find it. I can't remember exactly where it is, but I bet Norman and my brother Dennis does, because Denny teaches Sunday school, and he really studies his Bible a lot. Look that up, Denny, and let me know, okay? Or somebody. I'll try later. So I'm going to let you go. My feet are about done. I've been talking 22 minutes, so I have about 10 more minutes to do my feet. So it's been fun. And we're going to go to the dumpster dive. That's the Goodwill resale store, and try to find James some throw rugs for his office. So talk to you later, and y'all walk that walk where Jesus would be pleased with you. Bye-bye.